Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. Well, as you can see, he has won. I believe this gentleman here has won. And no, I'm sorry, I haven't learned to pronounce his name very well. Please forgive me for that. I have a lips, so it's very difficult for me. But he has won. He's a avowed socialist Muslim. That's what he is. And I'm not going to even go into anything about socialism or communism or any of that. I'm not going to even go into that. I'm just going to say this. I feel really bad for the people who could not see past the rhetoric that he was pushing. That's what I'm going to focus on here. The rhetoric that this man here was pushing. I am not going to focus on him. I'm not going to focus on his rhetoric. What I want to focus on is the people that voted for him. Now, contextually, I can kind of see why they did it. Because the cost of living in New York is still pretty high. And I'm not a New Yorker, so I can't feel what they're feeling necessarily. But I understand the cost of living here in the city of Cleveland. I understand it's high all over. And at the end of the day, what people generally want is to be relieved from the high cost of living. It costs so much to rent. It costs so much to buy a home. It costs so much to buy food. It costs so much to do this. And people's minds are like, well, man, I'm willing to take any kind of handout that I can get if this will alleviate the pain of the high cost of living. At the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. Is second to that would be crime. Second to that would be crime. But I think the real issue is the high cost of living. Whether that candidate that's running is a Democrat or Republican, none of that matters. What people want is to be able to have more money in their pocket and the cost of living to go down. That's what they want. And the stuff that this gentleman here was pushing, okay, although I feel this man is insincere, just the look on his face, it just makes me it makes me just my stomach tying knots, because I know, having read up and studied the history of socialism and communism and how it has never worked as an economic policy or in anything just about, how it has never worked, that it has put the people in those countries in abstract poverty worse the second time around than it was the first time. It never ceases to amaze me. Okay, I'm not going to even though I'm not going to even focus on that. I'm not going to even focus on that. People in the city of New York and all over the country, they're tired of the high cost of living. And someone like this gentleman here, and the rhetoric that he pushed, made sense to a lot of their minds. That's usually how communism becomes a part of that particular country, is that people are struggling financially. And I'm talking about crime, because a communist is not going to alleviate crime. That ain't what it is. But that's another story in of itself, and I digress. People are struggling financially. They want a way out. And the things that he was saying, free this, free that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, sounded very appealing to many of these New Yorkers. It sounded very appealing. But unfortunately, they have no idea of the long-term effects of socialism implemented. They have no idea. That, to me, is a horrifying sign of the state of mind that a lot of people in this country have. And let me say this too. Some people may be like, well, this is a win for the Democrats. No, it ain't a win for the Democrats. This man here is not a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. He's a socialist. People, pay attention. He is a socialist. He's not a Democrat. And a socialist is just one step below communism. Okay? Prayerfully, it doesn't. The city doesn't merge into communism, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, people will push against some of his policies, and hopefully, people will push against that. But at any rate, it shows a horrible state of mind that people have in this country. It really does. And I don't think this is just here in New York, but it's all over. But going back to the whole idea about him being a Democrat, there's people think this is a win for the Democrats. He's not a Democrat. This man is not a Democrat. He's a socialist. There's a difference. There's a difference. And when people vote for someone like this in droves, because from what I understand, he won by a landslide. That's a sad, sad situation. It could be that many of these New Yorkers are feeling like, man, Trump's policies, economic policies aren't really working. But to be fair, Trump's big, beautiful bill was just implemented, I think, in June or July. You have to give that time to work. That's not going to happen overnight. But here's the deal. If the masses of people have been in economic turmoil for the last 4-something years under Biden, this happened under Biden when the cost of living and all this was under his administration. So people have been paying exuberant prices for a bunch of stuff under Biden's policies for years. Then here comes Trump trying to alleviate it, right? When people don't see an immediate result, and then someone like this person right here starts saying, well, I'm going to give you free this, free that, and he's real good and he's real professional at how he explains it and articulates it, that's going to be very appealing to a lot of people in New York, and not only in New York, but other cities of the country. That's going to be very appealing to them. If they're not educated and informed on what socialism and its economic concepts really are all about, that idea, that worldview is very appealing. What I think many of these Republicans should have done was paid more attention and focused on the horrible conditions of socialism and the economic policies of socialism and what it will inevitably end up doing. I think that what these Republicans should have talked about and really hammered down on that, like Trump hammered down on crime and illegals and so forth. He hammered down on that. This is what these Republicans that was campaigning with this man should have done. They should have hammered down on the destructive concepts and ideas of socialism, and then gave the people a plan of what they wanted to implement. But I don't think they did that. And now this man is now going to be the mayor of New York. Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But this to me is a sad, sad picture here. This is a sad picture. It's a sad picture. And I see a trend. I see a trend. If certain things don't start picking up in terms of the economic, the big, beautiful bill and more money being put in the pockets of many working Americans, if I don't see, if something doesn't start trending soon, changing soon, I see a lot of people going to start looking not towards the Democrats per se, but looking towards the socialists like this. Because some Democrats are pulling away from this man because they know he's not a Democrat. What was it, Cuomo? You know, Trump was even talking about people for the New Yorkers to support Cuomo. Cuomo was a Democrat, but Trump was suggesting that people support him because Trump understood what this man was pushing. He understood the rhetoric. He understood socialism, but it didn't work. People's money funny. They want immediate relief. And when pressure is on you and you're struggling, doesn't matter what anybody else say. You don't want to wait any longer. You want immediate relief. And it seems to me that New Yorkers wanted immediate relief for their financial problems. But in the long run, if these policies that this man is putting forth, he's going to put it forth, in the long run, it's going to be the destruction of the city of New York. You're going to have empty food shelves, okay? If they don't become empty, it's because the plans that he's trying to implement weren't necessarily implemented completely. There's going to be people pushing back against him. Hopefully that's the case. But then again, like I said, it's a blue city. It's a blue city. I think New York is a blue city. The city is a blue city, and I think the state is a blue state. So that's to be expected as well. It's a blue. What do you expect? But at any rate, to choose a socialist, it's not good. That's not good. But I just wanted to say that. I just want to talk on this for a few minutes. Yeah, I don't. This is not the way to go. Socialism is not the way to go. Socialism is not the answer for the American cities. Somebody may argue, well, it ain't capitalism. Well, I'll argue it is capitalism. But on the flip side of it, that would be a whole nother video in and of itself. It certainly isn't socialism. And socialism and communism, which are akin to each other, has a very, very ugly history in every city. A very, very ugly history. So we don't need to go into all of that. But no, this it's not good. It's not good. Well, let's see what happens, people. I'm praying for the best for the New Yorkers. But let's see what happens. So what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.